Howdy. Hey there. Hey there, bud. Hey there. All right, everybody. Y'all know what time is it? It is Earl Grey Tuesday. And as always, I'm your host, Vince Goodrum, the VINCE of the fitness industry. And I want to welcome you to this very rainy Tuesday. I know some of you guys saw me on Muscle Sport Media's show yesterday, so been doing a lot of different live streams and collaborating with different people as usual. And been quite busy. Like I said before, this will probably be my last month to where I will not be actually running a regular job or so forth. I may take off an additional month, but there's just too many offers out there right now. But we'll see what the future is. For right now, I'm not even going to think about it this month. I'm just going to enjoy myself, continue to do live streams as accordingly here. So, of course, because this is the Earl Grey Tuesday show, I do have, of course, Earl Grey tea. So, out in the corner there, tell me what you are drinking and smoking, and where the hell is everybody at? Jeez. I see my good buddy Pugman's here and Dom's here. Is anyone else streaming tonight or something? Or, wonder what's going on. Let's take a look and see. Nah, nobody ain't streaming except me. That is very odd. Hey, Jamie, welcome to the show. Eating an apple right now? Yeah, you know, an apple a day does keep the doctor away, so. Well, since we're waiting for people to come in, looks like they're just trickling in. I think I'm gonna go light myself a nice Cohiba cigar, a little miniature one. So, normally I don't have cigars with my Earl Grey, but I'll make an exception tonight. You're all tired after going back to work? Yeah, I guess it is No more holidays there. But of course, when I worked at Verizon, every day was pretty much a work day. So people's cell phones still go out of commission regardless. Jamie, you can always afford yourself to slack off at work one day, just as long as you don't do it every day. I mean, there's pretty times when I was in management through Verizon that I would sometimes slack off. In our old corporate office, we had like a little, one of those little bins that you see at like Chuck E. Cheese where you throw the basketball in for prizes. We actually had one of those set up there, and during the downtime, we would just shoot the hoops essentially. Hmm. But don't sweat it at all. Don't sweat it at all. You're good. Honestly, I'm a bit exhausted myself here. It's probably because I just got out of the gym a couple of hours ago. Plus, I've been training at home as well as writing new articles. I do have a new article coming out there, and I'm gonna describe my basically my stack that I used for my last show, and I'm also gonna put in some unreleased pictures of myself. Some that I've not actually never shown anyone, that was taken about 13 years ago during my. It was a picture of me 3 weeks out while I was doing a carb cycle, which once you see the picture itself, you'll see exactly why I've never showed it before, but I should have that published within a week or so. What's up, Antonio? Welcome to the show there. Glad you can make it. As well as you, Protein Bra. Well, Protein Bra, to answer your question, I wouldn't mess with your mom writing a book. Just let her write the book as accordingly. When it comes, I mean, it's sort of like someone painting a picture. If you tell it that it's shit before they're even finished, that's not going to be a very nice thing. Sometimes there's a such thing as ignorant bliss. I mean, I get where you're coming from, so I would leave this in the ignorant bliss department. I'm not drinking coffee tonight. I'm drinking Earl Grey. Of course, because it's Earl Grey Tuesday. I always have Earl Grey at the end of the day. But I actually had to cut down on coffee because I'm testing out this new pre-workout supplement, so I don't want to get too much caffeine in. So for the most part, I've been drinking decaf. But yeah, I've cut down on coffee, at least for now. But I still drink coffee regularly. So can't give up on that stuff. I'm sorry. Cuban said that $50. I swear to God, there's something wrong with that boy. The coupon may not. You don't need the actual coupon. It depends on which flavor that you actually have. Not sure why. A couple things did change. Whenever I put on those Amazon specials, usually there's not a time limit as far as those are concerned. That's just something that was passed along to me particularly, which I want to share with everyone else. But I really don't know why that didn't work. It worked for some people and it didn't work for others. In fact, some of the Amazon links that I had on my website did not. They people couldn't actually see it, so it's kind of weird. No, 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 no. I never drink whiskey to end the workday. I always have Earl Grey. So I'm just using one of my Earl Greys sessions in order to do the Tuesday live stream. But this is what I drink after usually after work or in the middle of work if I'm going to work until 2 a.m. in the morning. Well, yes, they can wash their hands of blood with soap and water and get them clean. Figuratively, no. You're quitting caffeine tomorrow? Well, I wish you all the best on that there, Pugman. I mean, if caffeine is an issue to where it's affecting your personal health or your body or so forth, then I can definitely understand that. You know you're my dog and everything, so. Have I tried Dynamin as a stem supplement? uh, no, I've not actually tried that. I sold something similar, but it was actually an injectable. But I sold that to cyclists here. It was called, I think, Dynacycling. I can't remember the name of the product there, but it's illegal now, so don't worry about it. What's up, Bean Smasher? Welcome to the show. Everybody got in a little late there, but on the other hand, my previous show, I was having mic issues. No, I've not seen the Dahmer show. I don't have Netflix, and I've actually cut off Discovery today. Actually, I was getting Discovery free for 6 months when I was working at Verizon, but that's now ended, so I went ahead and cut it off. But no, I've not seen it. I lived through the Dahmer trials, so can't get no better than that. I'm into a little bit of poetry. If you take English honors in high school, you'll get a whole bunch of poetry. That's for sure. You got a $200. All right, Pugman. That was awful nice of them. Yeah, our governor McMaster's, they sent us $800 in November. Although they did rip me off with business taxes, so it's good that for them to give me a little bit of the change back of all the money that they've stolen. So, don't spend it all in one place, there, my brother. The what's going on, everybody? It's just one of those things that came to pass, I guess. Like every other YouTube channel, there has to be a little catchphrase or so forth. I run my YouTube channel no different than I ran my podcast. So, although my podcasts were a little different, I didn't do the what's going on. It was just, but it just came along with this process, and people like it, so I keep saying it. As well as the new now I say peace and soul at the end of every show. Because someone wanted me to give up some sort of catchy closing. Running interference on Hemingway's existence. I can't go and talk about Jason Blaha all the time. I can't go and talk about vegan gains all the time. I can't go and talk about Frank Tufano all the time there, If I kept doing that there, the channel would go stagnant. And there's not really anything really to report right now on Blaha. Nothing new. If something new comes along, definitely you'll see a Blaha video. $50. Whenever I make gallons of tea, I get that Lipton cold brew tea. Because I got really cold, I got good well water, but I also have my water dispenser. And I usually add lemon after per glass. But, if that works for you there, then more power to you. I've just never seen two different tea combinations mixed together, so that'd be very interesting. I've always lived with caffeine. I've always been a coffee person. I guess that's from being from Asheville. I mean, we live and die by coffee, so. Well, Dom, you should get some of that poetry published there. A lot of people, they just leave their writings by themselves as a hobby. But it's always good, the purpose of publishing it, it allows you to share it with the public. Not only that, you can put a little coin in your pocket to do other things. I mean, if it comes on regular TV or something, $50, I'll watch the Dahmer series, but I'm not going to pay for it. Whatever happened to the podcast with RX Muscle, that was a one-time appearance. But as far as the podcast is concerned, I know Dave is looking for a new assistant. So I think that may have to deal with some of the operations presently. I've not asked Dave about that yet. I usually don't get in Dave's business here. I know he's got some things going on, so I know when to ask him something and I know when not to fuck with him. This is one of those times where, I probably don't want to bother him. Oh yeah, that's a good deal, Ancient. And that's whenever I was competing, I would have some at nighttime because it's a slow digesting protein. So excellent deal. But yes, the flavors are going to be, there's going to be a huge difference in flavors. The ones that sell the least are going to be cheaper than the ones that sell the most. And I can see where cinnamon bun would be $70 here. But sometimes it's flip mode with other companies. But it's always good to shop around. That is possible, Scotty. I don't know his living arrangements. The thing about it is I can't there's no way for me to find out unless, the information's leaked. VKVDM, well, he's under the impression that once he gets 1,000 subscribers and everything, and his channel gets monetized, that the YouTube fairy is just going to drop all sorts of money on him, and that's just not the case. There, I mean, I've showed you guys before how much I make on just actual videos. Like I said, I have over 900 videos on my channel. And I average about 2,000 video views a day. And the only revenue I actually get, the truth of the matter is, it's usually $3 to $5 for every $1,000. And then after YouTube taxes you, you're left with less money. So each month I probably get between $80 to $100 at this point in time. They've been really cutting and strutting with revenue lately. But he needs to realize one thing he needs to realize is, you got bills and everything like that. And the things that I'm doing is the same things that I've been doing for the past 20 years, writing articles. That's how we used to do it back in the day before all of this social media shit. But he has the idea that, YouTube is going to pay him a bunch of money when he gets monetized. He's not going to get anything. But that's the way people think of it there. Getting monetized on YouTube or even Facebook doesn't mean you're going to be raking in the dough. YouTube makes all the money and my ass bleeds out as well as every other YouTube creator. Pugman, he hurt his neck doing incline sit-ups. If anyone wanted to really fuck with Richard doing those sit-ups, they would pay him $2. He would get on it, do the 2 sit-ups, sits back down, and then another donation comes in, and he has to get up again and do 2 sit-ups there. That would really piss him off if he had to do that to engage and disengage. Just when he's feeling comfortable, hit him with another $2. But that's probably how he hurt his neck there. I really don't do incline sit-ups that much, but he had his He had his cocked up way too high. Ah, good deal. So you are sharing it with the public there. It's always good to share artistic works with the public, whether it's writings or whether it's pictures or so. Kentucky Blue, I pray for the best for him there. I think he's going to actually recover, but it's going to be a touch and go situation there. Well, I've sold plant protein before, Pugman. Plant protein can be quite expensive, especially the pea protein. The only good place you can get that from is True Nutrition. But right now, I'm not even. The only protein supplements that I'm actually using is a little bit of whey, along with my oatmeal, and that's about it. I've cut down on cigars there, Pugman. I don't smoke as many as I used to. Now that I'm not working at Verizon and going to meetings and stuff like that, there's really no need to smoke too many cigars. I've also cut down on the brands there and I just buy bigger bulk. Eventually, I'm just going to just have maybe one cigar a day. But right now, I'm like down to like one and a half. So, but yeah, Pug man, I'm cutting down on pretty much everything to be honest with you. Just a different lifestyle now from what I feel. So, not having to work that crazy job there, you know. Protein, I don't care what Blaha's situation is as far as how he's living, whether it's for an old retiree. But like I said, he's got some problems here, and you know he needs to get his head checked. Yeah, streaming services do jip you. I mean, that's just the way things work, and they're getting a lot more greedier these days. YouTube already took a big percentage of what creators took, and recently they changed it to where they take even more. So, KCB, these two are never going to meet up and fight. I mean, you have one that's in Texas and you have him in Canada. They're not going to go fly to go fight each other. I hate it when people say shit like that. I'm going to go fight you. I'm going to go MMA fight you and everything. It never comes. It never comes true. At least Jay Masters actually went through with that boxing match. You know, I can respect Jay Masters for at least going through with the boxing match. But other than that, I haven't seen any real internet challenges actually go to fruition. So I never said protein. I mean, the fart powders that I refer to is that really cheap stuff. You know, back in the day, one of the most common things you used to run into is those 5 gallon jugs for $20. Uh, those are fart powders because most of it was sugar and corn syrup. So you want to make sure that you're getting quality product there. But like I said, there are still a couple of companies that are really fucking things up. So I used animal products whenever I was competing. So I mean, I like animal products here. Well, Kentucky Blue, there's no question that Blaha knows how to train and do powerlifting. I mean, he's filmed a powerlifting video every single day. I've never seen any real issues with his lifting whatsoever. Yeah, you're right, Pugman. You see what happened to Tesla? They dropped down to like 102. I'm like, God, oh mercy, you know. Last year I've lost some of my stocks that came back up. But even though they're long term and they'll eventually go back the way they were over a year's time, I've lost about $17,000 in my stock value. So I think my network, not even counting my business as far as cash is concerned on hand, I think I got a little over $60,000 left when I had about 80 some thousand. But that's not counting the value of my businesses though. But yeah, I've been getting my ass kicked. And it's still not enough for me to actually retire, honestly. I need to really get working on things. The good thing is at least I have some residual income, so. But yeah, we're headed to a recession, Pug Man, that's for sure. It's just too many companies are getting too greedy. Minimum wage is stagnant. When no one raises minimum wage, people are not buying anything. When people are straddled with collegiate college debt, they're not buying houses, they're not getting married, they're not having kids or anything. The strap down with college loans is really affecting the housing industry because people are spending their money on college loans rather than actually buying houses. That's part of the reason why the Feds had to raise that interest rate. Yeah, you're right. It's going to be crowdfunded here. Protein. I've been working in the I worked in the supplement industry for over 20 years. You have the good thing about protein powders is not the fact that they're more convenient and you can take them with you. You can't always be in a position to go cook a meal when you're on the run. So they do have their general purposes here. It's definitely better than eating one of those. What do they call those things? Not the Kit Kat bars. It's those little Debbie things, little peanut butter wafer things. There's always opportunity in the stock market there, KCB. And I still do I do some small shares of stock there, which have done pretty well. But I'm talking about the issue that I actually have is my long term stocks, not my short term stuff that I dabble around with. But yeah, there's always going to be opportunity in piss. Whenever COVID happened, I made a lot of money because I owned a medical company and I was selling out the ask of masks, suits, and everything. I mean, I cleaned house when COVID happened. That also helped with that definitely increased my net worth by great deal. I think I was at 40 and then that really shot me to the moon. I'm not too big of a fan of CDs right now. I think you get a better return in stocks rather than CDs. I think CDs are good for people who don't want to mess with stocks there and they need a pretty easy way of money. Whatever you do, just don't put anything in a savings account. Savings account, you don't, yeah, the return on that is horrible. You get pennies. Well, Scotty, you got to check my channel. I already did a full tour of my trailer. There's two of them. There's one I did a couple of years ago, and there's one I recently did about 2 months ago. So just go through my channel and check out the video. Yeah, Pugman. I mean, if I had to choose between a CD and a savings account, then it's going to be a CD all the way. I've just always factored in putting my money into long-term stocks there because I get a better I think stock-wise you're going to always get a better return. Either that or any type of commodity such as gold and silver. Silver especially, I think silver is going to go up pretty good. The value of it's going to increase as our government continues to print money. And silver right now is pretty easy to get. People don't really realize how much of a value is silver. No, Chris, it's not premature. It's gonna happen. Pugman, no, it would be you can't go bald with creatine. It's naturally found in any type of meat. You can go bald if you're streaming for about 12 hours a day and you have a wife that's calling you a nigger, so. Well, of course I can take Blaha in the fight, but fighting doesn't solve anything. Blaha has no real world training like Vegan Gains. I've been in bunches of fights, unfortunately, and I've been hit a bunch of times here. Especially when I was working in corrections. If you want to get into a fight, sign up as a corrections officer. You're going to get some fights, that's for sure. And I hate fighting. I absolutely hate it. The reason why I hate it is because I've been in so many fights. I hate fighting. I mean, it hurts when you hit someone in the face. It hurts when you get hit in the face here. I mean, it's just all bad. KCB, nobody's panicking about stocks. We're just being realistic there. When you invest in stocks, you have to have the knowledge and insight that stocks are going to go up and down, and you have the opportunity to lose a bunch of money like I have. But that's just the way stocks are. They go up and they go down. Throughout my life, I've done a lot better with stocks than these down periods. But I understand that there's always going to be down periods with stocks. Yeah, don't buy any crypto, especially not FTX. There's no data needed there, Chris. Gold and silver has been around for thousands of years. That's the standard, It's not like cash, Silver and gold will always be worth money for precious metals here. Well, as long as you made money off of it, KCB, that's a good thing. I just noticed that people don't realize the value of silver. I mean, I've been going through, I've been hearing from some of my friends. They go to flea markets here, and people are just giving out silver. They just think it's just metal forks and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. Anything that's the color of silver, they think it's metal. So it's a good opportunity to go in. You can't go into like a Goodwill because they're going to know. But if you go to some of these yard sales and stuff, a lot of times they're giving out silver for pennies. Morons. I started balding about, I would say back in 2013. And I started shaving my head fully in 2014. But everyone in my family goes bald. I did Forex at one time, but it's highly dangerous. You really don't want to screw with something like that there's not even a simulator for Forex there, and it wouldn't make a difference. I mean, you're talking about anything that can change within seconds. Yeah, don't mess with, Forex is something that, that's something that, that's not amateur stuff. that's really playing with fire there. You got to be really good, and you have to be make sure you have a very fast internet connection. Let's just put it that way. Did I get in trouble for hitting inmates? I got reported a bunch every time I hit an inmate, but that's why we have to write out a report anytime we have any physical interaction with inmates. Usually a very long report. But no, I never got in any trouble with hitting an inmate. I did get in trouble for doing a search without the sergeant's permission there. Doing a full search, I threw out their mattress out of their cells and stuff. I got in trouble for that. But I did find contraband. But there was some sort of legality type thing. I don't know. Honestly, I saved his life because what he was doing is he was hoarding a bunch of those, those little pink sweeteners and stuff. And he would take about 10 of them and just swallow them all up in order to get a high. So I think I saved his life. So I'll take that yelling. Well, of course, Kennedy. A lot of people did lose their money, and a lot of people made a lot of money ripping people off there. And that's the same thing that's going to happen with these NFTs. Well, Scatman, if that's been going on for 2 weeks, you need to go see a doctor immediately. That's definitely not a cold or flu. Cold or flu, a flu at the most should only last for a week. But if that's been going on for 2 weeks, you need to go see a doctor. You don't need proof on the recession. I said the same thing back in 2006 there. There was no social media, but I said that on what was discussion forums at the time, that being Get Big. You have to understand the market experts are always going to know when a recession's happening. The recession is coming there, Chris, for the reasons that I've mentioned. People are not buying houses because they're straddled down with college debt. That's why I think Biden was trying to do that loan forgiveness so people would actually spend the money on houses. You have minimum wage not going up, and you have companies dumping off other people in order to hire in India instead. So it all adds up there, and people are getting greedier, and plus people are businesses are getting just a lot more greedier than they used to. Oh boy, you people. What was it like working at a jail? The thing about it is when you work at a jail, the very first time you walk into one, it smells pretty bad. It's very funky, but after a while you get used to it. Most of the time when you work in any type of jail, you have to do 30-minute rounds, and you have a little device to where you have to click on in each space there, which the center actually records. And a lot of people think that you don't go into the cells, and yes, you actually have to go. You have to walk through the cells there. People think that everyone's behind bars and you never have to touch them or anything like that, like they see on cartoons, but that's not the case. You then have your lunchtime. You got to feed everyone. You got to make sure you get your diabetic bags for your inmates. Make sure everyone has things like toilet paper and other things. Make sure they clean up after themselves before you send them to bed. And then afterwards, you fill out all your reports, and that's generally... also, you have to get what's called a 502. A 502 is whenever an inmate has a request, and you can get a bunch of those within a particular day. The ones you have to address the most importantly is the medical 502s. Those usually have to be addressed immediately. Now, if someone turns over way too many 502s, then we do have to get that reported as accordingly, because some people misuse that system. But all of that combined with inmate altercations. Most of the time it was inmates fighting other inmates, but when you try to break it up, a lot of times they decide they want to fight you, so you always have to be unprepared. One time I was feeding an inmate, and the inmate just went and attacked me for no reason whatsoever. And he hit me a couple of times there, and I finally got him down. I started dropping them elbows like Dusty Rhodes there, and then I broke his arm, you know. I mean, and when I said I broke his arm, I mean I snapped it clean in half there, you know. I was just that angry. Oh, and Pugman, I did get yelled at for that, so. Not because the guy's arm got broken, is because we had to pay the hospital bills, so. Some sort of bean counter got mad at me because they had to pay for the guy's medical costs. I forgot all about that incident. It was in a place called medical housing, which is really mental housing for the nutcases. And I was just feeding him, gave him his tray, and next thing you know, he jumps all over me and starts trying to choke me and stuff. So that's what it's like working in a jail. I mean, you never know what you expect. Well, prison guard is a rough job, but it's honest work. It's a man's job, you know. Uh, you know, uh, but it is a rough job, but you get paid a bunch for it, you know. It's a good job for someone who wants good pay and they don't have a college education there, you know. I don't know of anyone that sells that type of powder KCB. I really don't. There's plenty of data and predictions there, Chris, but that's the same way with stocks, you know. You sometimes have to predict when it goes up and goes down in order to invest in it. And I think I mean, sometimes predict, I mean, whenever you predict something that something's going to happen, you know, it's going to work in your favor there, you know. Think about Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos had the foresight that one day everything was going to be online and people were going to be ordering online. And this was back in 1998, and people told him that he was crazy. Who's the billionaire now, you know? Someone texted me? Oh, no, 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 no. You see, I got two phones. This phone is to fix trouble. This one is to make trouble. Just kidding. This phone here is my secondary phone. I also answer any calls from my website, The Well of Mimir. But this here is I actually have two cell phones. This phone I use to run most of my business calls. My secondary one is for when I need to call someone and I don't want them knowing my regular number. But I've usually had always two phones. At one time, I actually had three cell phones. Well, the justice system doesn't take long to work. It only takes long if you're poor. If you're rich, you get immediate justice. I called him a crazy son of a bitch. There was no. I was so angry, and I was injured as well that I really wasn't in the mood to cut a promotion. Tore my shirt to shreds. I mean, bruises. He got me good in the jaw there. So, and I think ribs was a little sore as well. I didn't break a rib or anything, but it felt like I got my ribs broke because he was right on top of me and he had his knee on top of my on my chest there and in my rib section. So I wasn't in the mood to cut a promotion. But the nurse patched me up pretty good, and I went back to work and completed the shift. I still needed that money. I mean, the only what really hurts is whenever you have bandages and stuff like that. The inmates know that you got into a fight, and they will mock and ridicule you. But for the most part, afterwards they'll ridicule you at first, but then you get your respect. Like, okay, you down with it, and stuff. So yeah. But that day I didn't feel kind of respectful. I was just hurt. So. Well, yes, Pug Man, you have to do rounds alone because of overcrowding. I got backup after I had already subdued the person. This all lasted about 30 seconds here. Once I got my wits together after getting hit in the face, you see those little sparks and stuff like that, but that's only for a couple seconds. Once I got my bearings together, I went and I took them to house there, laid a whooping on him. So, but at the same time, I did get whooped too. So he got whooped worse. I sent them to the hospital. All I had to do was go to the nurse. And I'll tell you right now, if the aspirin that the jails give you, it's really good stuff. It's that Tylenol 3 shit there. That Tylenol 3 will get you rolling. So. Am I pro or anti-vax? Neither one. I think it's important that people get vaccines for things like measles and polio and stuff like that, and things that are eliminated. I think for the most part, vaccines are safe, but I've seen those people with that don't give their kids vaccines, and what happens is they end up getting other kids sick with the measles or some other crazy disease like chicken pox. So overall, COVID happened. Some people took the vax, some people didn't. My buddy Louis Uridel, he didn't take the vax or anything like that, but we still cool. In life, everyone has a choice to make a decision. It may not be a decision I agree with and disagree with, but at the end of the day, you got to be pals at the end of the day. I'm not going to go defriend someone because they decided to not get a vax. And I'm not going to hang around. I'm not going to not hang around someone because they didn't get the vax there. The purpose of the vax is it's supposed to work, so. bro team, come on, man, come on. The best cigars to start off with is Connecticut's there because it's a light cigar, and then you want to work your way up to Maduros and stuff. But I would actually start with if you didn't know whether you like a strong or light cigar, it's always best to start off with a very light cigar. I would recommend probably a Perdomo Connecticut. I've always followed I used to use Tax Cut when it was around by Kippinger's, but because I use Quicken, now I just use TurboTax because I can transfer all my business taxes and statements over to TurboTax automatically, so it's a lot easier. But I never go to a CPA for my returns. My returns, I mean, as long as that's the purpose of having Quicken and QuickBooks. If you have that, you don't need a CPA. You know, all you got to do is sort and organize, and it's going to do everything for you. And it's all when you run a business. Also, it's important to have quicken, so you know how much money is coming in and out, so you know what to spend on and what not to spend on. I've not seen any videos of the floods in California, but I would suspect they would be the same as in like places like Mississippi, and stuff. They're always going to be bad. They're going to always cause a lot of damage. So I hope those people got insurance here. If you lose consciousness, I mean, once you radio in, people are going to be there within a minute or two. But if you lose conscious, then that you just lose conscious, and hopefully you manage to wake up, or whether if you whether you wake up on the ground or in a hospital or so forth. The most important thing is, as long as you stay alive and you're able to walk home at the end of the day, that's very important. I was able to walk home that day, Pug Man. I was bruised and I was busted up, but I was able to go home, and that's all that matters. Or actually, I went to the bar. They used to have a bar next to, actually right across from the sports club, called Playtime. So I had a couple beers with my buddy Merkel, who also worked with me, and stuff. But I still went home. If you lose conscious, then yeah, you may be in some deep shit. You may not wake up, or and stuff. That's just the risk you got to take as far as being a prison guard. I mean, only the tough survive, and you gotta have some fucking balls in order to work there. If you don't want to get hit, if you're not willing to do what you got to do, then you need to go work at UPS or something. No problem, Andrew. You use H&R Block there, Pugman? How much do they charge at H&R Block nowadays? I'm not for sure. I think I've not been at H&R Block since maybe the late '90s. This was before there was like tax software and stuff. But as long as you get everything filled out right there, you're always going to be in good shape. I've just always done my taxes through TurboTax, because I'm spending all year going through my, going using QuickBooks and stuff and Quicken. That it's pretty easy just to do a transfer over and just make some adjustments. I haven't kept count as far as how many states. If I could take a guess, maybe about 20 or so. I didn't spend the New Year shaking cheeks. I had a little party, so. Is that the worst fight that I've ever been in? Unfortunately, no. I can't really think of any worse fight other than I was doing security and I got sucker punched from behind. So the worst, it's not really so much as the worst fights. It's just when you get sucker punched, when you're just talking to someone and all of a sudden you feel someone's hand on you there and you feel that nice little sting. And then once I get hit and I get my bearings, that's when I get really mad, and that's when I start cleaning house. So it probably is there. But the good thing about TurboTax is it connects automatically with Quicken. So that's why I use TurboTax nowadays. Kentucky, shut the hell up there. No, it isn't. It's not for single mothers. You can use H&R Block for business taxes there as well. Yeah, people that go and talk about fighting all the time, they've never been in any real fights. They've never been in any real battles. I know it's 8:52. I'm gonna start running this for 2 hours actually on Tuesdays instead of just one. So we still got about another hour left, folks. So So don't worry about the 8 minutes here. So I was in the movie My Fellow Americans. I'm in the gay parade scene actually. But yeah, I've been in a movie. I was also on MTV's Made. I Want to Be a Bodybuilder. I'm in the background, pumping up.
The Earl Grey Tuesday Hour with Vince Goodrum, sponsored by Dan 1010 Labs. Vince, did you ever have an opportunity to be on the prison SWAT team?
Robert, thanks for the donation. They don't, in the prisons, they don't call it a SWAT team, they call it a TAC team. And occasionally I was pulled in to be part of the TAC team and got training for it though. But yeah, I did a couple TAC team stuff there, and cell extractions. But it's not a SWAT team, but it's called the TAC team. But again, thanks for the donation. But as far as cell extractions, they're pretty easy to do for the most part. Simply because you have a bunch of people. I'm either going to be filming with the well, at the time there's a big camcorder, so I'm either holding the camcorder, filming, or I'm just doing the actual cell extraction and pinning down the person, you know. You get right, you know, the training isn't too long. It's like a day's training because you know you already have academy and police training to begin with there. You just the basis of it is simply learning how to do a cell extraction, you know, for a really disruptive inmate. But those are a lot easier because you're working with a bunch of people there, you know. At no point in time have I ever been hit in the face. I've had urine tossed on me and poo tossed on me, but that's about it. I can deal with doo-doo and piss, you know. After all, I am a piss trooper there, right? No amount of piss is gonna hurt a piss trooper, right? So yeah, guys, and we got a lot of tough guys up here, you know. Like I said before, people that talk about fighting all the time have never been in any real fights. My weight is 230. I'm at 5'11. I've been trying to lose weight there. It slowed down a little bit, but I'm still dropping pounds. My movie clips of me in the detention center and doing the cell extractions. Shoot, those are generally not public there. But if you want to see the movie clips of My Fellow Americans, I guess I guess you can go to any streaming service and pull up My Fellow Americans. So you can definitely go to MTV's Made I Want to Be a Bodybuilder, and you can see me in the background. If that's what you're referring to, I'm not sure if you're referring to that or when I was videoed doing cell extractions. No, I would never do a 10-hour stream. When I start playing video games, when I get my monitor in, I'll probably start doing 4-hour streams because it wouldn't make sense just to play video games for like an hour or two. Only women Pugman can work with women prisoners, unless it's that's jail wise. In a regular prison, men can work with women prisoners. But in order to do a search, only a woman guard can actually do searches. That's the same with police officers. If a woman needs to be searched, I can subdue a woman prisoner, but I can't do a search on her whatsoever. Only a woman can do that. Scatman, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. It is an offense to actually throw piss and urine on someone there, but you have to remember, most of the time when that actually happens, these people have mental conditions there. So they're not going to be punished for that there because of their mental conditions there. That's just to be expected. And not only that, when someone's in prison or jail or anything like that, even if they assault a police officer or someone in a detention center, usually in speaking or so forth, we usually let that stuff slide for the most part. We write up a report and that's it. But like I said, if someone's throwing bodily fluids there, they're obviously not in the right of mind, which is usually the case. And they would be found innocent anyway due to a mental defect. So it's not humiliating. It's just a job there, you know. Like I said, those are the things that you don't see on TV there. I mean, crazy inmates throw poo. They sharpen their fingernails onto the walls there. They pour water in the floor before you do a cell extraction in order to so you can slip. It makes it harder to grab them. It's just part of the job. Hey Joel, how you doing today? Welcome to the Earl Grey Tuesday. Hope you're all well. I've never gotten ear pain from headphones. I've always kept it down to a moderate volume. Well, I've dealt with racism all the time there, whether I was a kid, even at my age now. That's part of being black, you know. As far as impact is concerned, yeah, naturally it's gonna have an impact. You gotta watch your back a little bit more, you know. Here's the thing. I don't dwell on it because everybody, white, black, or so forth, they're gonna have their own problems to deal with there. You know, whether they're not growing up without a father, whether they're growing up poor, maybe they have too much money and they don't, and their family uses money as a source of love, you know, or so forth. Uh, you just got to deal with shit like that, you know. Be a man about it, you know. I'm black. Obviously, I'm gonna get called a nigger sometime from someone walking down the street. You know, it's just one of those things. You know, I'm 45 years old. I've been called it so many times it doesn't bother me anymore. Yeah, there was an inmate. We didn't call him by his actual name. We called him the Grave Digger, and he got that name from winning a couple Tough Man contests. He was about 6'8". He was very lean but very muscular. You know, very scary individual. It was someone that there are prisoners that you simply just don't want to mess with. But me and Gravedigger was okay. There was also another guy named Corn Pop as well. I'm just joking. I don't think there's no such thing as a great American. It's just about being an American, you know. I have my I have my faults just like everybody else. Yeah, I've seen Richard twerking and doing sit ups and stuff. He's getting exercise and he's making a little bit of money. I mean, I've seen worst out of him. Hold on a minute, I gotta go hit the can or the latrine. I'll be back. something that Democrats. All right. Back to the business here. What do I feel about reparations? Reparations is something that Democrats like to dangle to black people in order to get them to vote for. That's what I think about reparations. Are we owed reparations? Well, yeah. Do I care about them? No. Uh, after the Civil War, my family used to own hundreds of acres of land, but they were ran off by the Klan. And they paid for it with hard work there. And this was they were ran off the land around 1910, actually. But at this point in time, reparations is nothing more than just some sort of political ad to entice black people to vote Democrat. That's all it really is. Even if there was reparations that was paid, it would come out of my money anyway, so I'd be paying myself back technically. Because there's only one place that money for reparations can come from, and that's tax dollars. So essentially, your taxes would go up, and eventually the government will have back that money that was paid out for reparations. So, for me, it's a non-starter and a non-issue, and I'm not going to fall for Democratic bullshit. Well, I'm a little bit more animated on Muscle Sport Mag. Me and Joe Pietaro have been friends for a while there, and because it's not my channel and stuff, and he's not monetized or anything like that, we can be a lot more liberal when it comes to the words. Do I have opinion on Gummy? I'm not sure who you're talking about. There's a lot of people that have the nickname Gummy. Latrine, yes, in the military. That's what you use if you need to go to the restroom. We call it the latrine. If you're in basic training and you ask for the bathroom, they're gonna tell you they don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You have to call it a latrine. It's no different than your weapon there. You don't call it a gun, you call it a rifle. This is my rifle, this is my gun, this one's for shooting, this one's for fun. Increased tax on the wealthy, no. If the wealthy provides appropriate jobs there like they used to do back in the 50s and stuff like that, that would be fine. I still believe in Reagan's Reaganomics there. It should be the trickle down economy rule would generally work if companies were honest there. If companies were honest and there was a trickle down effect, it would actually work. It would avoid increasing taxes not only on the wealthy but ourselves as well. But the reason why Reaganomics hasn't happened is because these companies, they take the tax breaks here and they don't give back to the people. Did I ever want kids? I've thought about having kids, but that's just never happened there. The truth of the matter is, I don't want to bring a kid in this world if, for me to have kids, obviously I'd have to be with a woman there, and stuff. And again, I've already spoken about, gays getting married. Just because a person gets married doesn't mean that they're straight. And in fact, you're actually lying to that woman if you go and get married knowing that you're gay. So, but I got lots of nephews. My brother has plenty of kids, so that's good enough for me. My legacy will grow on, along with my writings, along with my videos. The purpose of really having kids, for the most part, in my opinion, is to pass on your legacy. And I already have something to pass along my legacy, so I'm pretty content with that. I would still get a house if instead of renting. I would honestly recommend more people get mobile homes here rather than actually full-size houses. I think mobile homes are the way of the future, you know. That's why Warren Buffett bought Clayton Homes. Yeah, wealth tax time. No, I don't think the world needs an asset tax there. The thing about taxes there is they never go to where they're supposed to go to. Whenever they started the lottery in North Carolina and South Carolina, they said it would go back to the schools. It's not going back to schools. People are just pocketing that stuff. Well, Kaizen, the reason why there's not a low flat tax rate is because they don't want things that way. That would be less money that would be coming into the government. I've never been a fan of Herman Cain. My biggest issue with him is, well, his tax plan was just some sort of marketing campaign. I never thought that Herman Cain was serious about being president. I thought that him running was to give himself more prestige, get his name out there. I think it was just a more he wasn't running a presidential campaign. I think he was running more or less an advertising campaign. I'm sorry, Pugman. Anti-natalist. I'm not sure what you're referring to. You'll have to be more specific. Yes, trickle down economics would work if companies followed through with those tax breaks here. The only problem is it's not implemented. I mean, even communism would work if everybody else worked. But the reason why communism doesn't work is, eventually everyone becomes lazy fucks there. That's why the Soviet Union collapsed, because people stopped working and they knowing that they're going to still get the same amount of money if they work just as hard. It also curbs innovation there. If you don't have a incentive to improve or better yourself, uh, you're not going to get any of that. That's why, the capitalist system is the best there. It rewards people who work hard, and for those who don't work hard, they don't get anything. That's the way it should be. Charlie, my property taxes are super low because I live in Piedmont, South Carolina. Uh, if you go to a place like Oyster Bay, I know Dave Palumbo, he was paying $30,000 a year in property taxes, which is why he moved to Florida. You know, Property taxes only messed up depending on where you live at. My property taxes are super low. I think I pay like $100 or $200 a year for my property taxes. My legacy, I do want to have a legacy. I want to make sure I leave my videos and my writings behind. I hope that within 100 years or 1,000 years that people recognize my material. If some archaeologist is digging up some shit or so forth and find some of my writings, they get a couple of mints there, although they probably wouldn't know what I was talking about. Yeah, North Carolina does have really bad teacher salaries here. That's why we're rated low. But I live in South Carolina. North Carolina is slightly better. No, I don't believe in the lottery, Pugman. I believe in creating my own luck.
I think people will still work. What they going do all day?
I think people will still work. What they're going to do all day, here's the thing. In the near future, it's going to be, I think things are going to be like Star Trek, to where we're no longer going to need to work and we're going to need to pursue our own interest. Uh, we need to get to a society to where there's no more hunger, there's no more wars. where our time is spent best with improving ourselves, getting better educated, and and explore. I want us in the future to explore the universe. Just get off this planet and explore. I think things such as trying to work yourself to death in order just to survive. I think it's not feasible, and it's not something that can be permanent neither. But again, always thanks again for the donation there, Pug Man. Like I say, you my dog, man. You take good care of me, that's for sure. Well, not socialism. I'm talking about communism there, Charlie. I mean, part of the U.S. economy is a socialist society. We have Social Security, we have SNAP benefits and stuff. There's Obamacare. So part of our system is socialism there, the biggest thing is what I'm referring to as communism, but never equate communism with socialism. They're two completely different things. Yeah, 30,000 a year. If he lived in, I think Oyster Bay in New York, but yeah, $30,000 a year for property taxes. That's one of the reasons why he moved to Florida. Oh, I love capitalism there. I'm just acknowledging that there is some socialism in this country, you know. The only pure capitalist system that I'm fully aware, well, not even Luxembourg, that's part of a socialist society as well. That's only certain areas, Charlie. Again, it depends on where you live in Texas. If you're in Dallas, Texas, yeah, you're going to have high property taxes. Talk about Frank Tefano. Well, nothing's new that's gone on with him. I mean, we've already discussed him moving into his new place. He's still selling free range meat and that Wi Fi shielding there. Like I said before, I don't really talk about any subject unless there's something very important that's coming up. Gym rat, chances are they probably will, A 1,000 years from now, they're going to stumble on everything and rediscover it. And it's going to be a lot easier because, we're in a position to where we keep better records here, file systems and everything. It's not like Egypt where, things were carved on a fucking tablet or anything. Well, the purpose of the property tax is to pay for things that surround your property, like roads, power lines, and stuff like that. That's what it's supposed to pay for, and schools as well. I don't believe in universal income for the same reasons that, I mean, I consider that a form of communism, actually. You should make for what you work for. If you work hard, you should get paid for it. A universal income will end up like the Soviet Union if we had a universal income. I mean, should a doctor get the same amount of money as a bag boy at Walmart? No, scat man. It doesn't make a difference. Your body's gonna produce, semen regardless as to whether you jerk off or not. I wasn't aware of that as far as the top 10% of the earners. I'm not familiar with too much of things in the UK. I'm more or less upon American things. That type of salary that you mentioned wouldn't mean diddly in the United States. Damar's situation isn't very good, so I definitely pray for his recovery. He took a serious hit there. Uh, but like I said, I really wish the best for him. I was watching that game as well, and I feel kind of bad seeing that type of stuff happen there. Well, to answer that question, Robert, I think we would win because it would be entertaining watching those two fight. I think what would happen is they would walk up to each other, they would curse each other out, and then they would just walk away. You see, you can always talk about fighting all the time, but when someone actually confronts the other person, a lot of times it just never happens. Just a bunch of yelling and screaming and stuff like that. If you guys remember, Richard went down to the expos and started confronting people, and he never got into a fight with any of them. He could have just came down there and started swinging at everyone, but he didn't because he probably would have gotten his ass kicked. No, the majority of Americans are not broken and poor. We're the most wealthiest country out there, and if you want to really see poor, go to a country like Romania or Malaysia or so forth. There are things that we have that are too good. We have cell phones, we have TV sets, we have refrigerators, and everything like that. We're a very wealthy country. It's just America. A lot of Americans are just simply ungrateful there, and they don't realize just how much they actually have. But when you go to other countries like Romania, Malaysia, Thailand, and stuff like that, or Ethiopia, where their income where they have to literally live on $1 a day, then you'll actually see who's really poor. We don't have. There's not anyone really in this country is poor. You just only have people that have less money than another person. It's different reasons as far as to consistent tax rules. It just depends on the state there itself. Not every state is going to be the same. Some states have different laws and different rules here, but they've never been consistent. But that's too broad of a question to ask there. Just depends on who they elect there. If they elect a dirtbag, then your taxes are screwed. If someone gets elected that's pretty decent, then things are going to be better in one state than another state. You also have to take in account as far as resources are concerned. Like I said, Texas has a lot of oil. Las Vegas, Nevada, they have the casinos and everything. So, they have income that normally would not be at another place. Yes, I have a Bowflex Max trainer and a GR8 Flex. It's similar to a Total Gym. I also have a barbell set as well. He might need some exercise there, Charlie, but I guess you should go and donate and have him do a couple of sit-ups. That'll definitely help. Well, every state is not the same there. There's a big difference between the South and the North. I mean, it is what it is, and what it's going to be is what it's going to be. Exactly, guys. And I'll probably visit the UK one of these days here. It's something I'm very interested in. For right now, I definitely want to visit more of the US before going to the UK. Yeah, you need to have good cardio in order to fight. No, because you have to remember Navy SEAL training is not a exercise workout. You're being trained to kill without mercy. You're trained to win by attrition. The training is only to toughen you up to do those activities. Yeah, the standard of living has dropped, but again, you got to compare the United States to other poor third world countries there, And when you do that, our standard of living is still way higher. Like I said, we take a lot of things for granted. We really do. There's no parts in the United States that are like a third world country. A third world country is like no other. There are no parts in the US. There's really poor towns and stuff, but no, there's nothing close like a third world country around here. I mean, you're a third world country is something to where they live in shacks. They have no TVs, they have no refrigeration, they have no clean water, they don't have anything. They have no clothes or so. Yeah, Pietaro went and brought Sassy on the show yesterday. She's got a serious meth problem. I wish the best for her. She really needs to take care of herself. But I was actually live with Sassy the other day too, so well, Cuban gets what he deserves. It's like I said before. Cuban has no involvement in the bodybuilding and fitness industry. He's never competed. He's not a bodybuilder, power lifter, or even a drug dealer. The Max Trainer's definitely worth the money. I have the high end Max Trainer. I can't think of the number right now, but like I said, I spent a little over $2,000 for mine. But I did make a video on my YouTube channel. You can check it out there. Just type in Vince Goodrum and then Bowflex Max Trainer. Well, I would definitely go into the cities there, Scatman, especially London. I mean, don't worry, I can take care of myself here. So, well, I'm 5'11", and the last contest weight I competed at was 182 pounds. No, not black neighborhoods are not third world countries in the United States. Like I said, if you have a TV, if you have a refrigerator, and if you have a cell phone, it's not a third world country. You're going to be way better than a third world country. Stop calling it porch monkey hoods. There's white people that live there too. When I grew up in Deerview, there were plenty of white people there just as much. You know. Charlie, I don't know why Jay isn't streaming. I'm sure he'll start streaming again. Weapon X, I don't believe in taking anything for hair loss. Hair loss is something natural. I don't think it's not something that affects you medically. Just simply shave your head. But I don't believe in any of that product. Not because it doesn't work or anything, because it does. I just don't believe in trying to artificially preserve something, a minutia thing such as hair. He does enjoy receiving attention. I heard that David Battelle made a video on me. I think he has like 235,000 subscribers, and I was complaining about him showing up in my feeds about Filmora. So you never know when you show up for attention. That's for sure. Well, Athens, I'm not sure what country are you from there. You know, you never mentioned what country you're from, actually. Hey, Susan, what's up? Welcome to the show. Like I said, from now on, we're going to start doing 2 hours instead of one. Rolando is the king until someone dethrones him. There's going to be some younger people that's going to be better than him, but or excuse me, Ronaldo. He's a legend. I probably pronounced his name wrong. Must be getting a little sleepy or something. I don't think Chris is a cookie cutter or so forth, but he is. I would consider him as just confusing. He confuses me. Well, I mean, their houses are at least made of bricks. You go to some real third world countries, they're made of trash. I mean, literally, they're made of trash. Like I said before, there's no place in America or the UK that's actually a third world country. Well, Charlie, there's some in South Carolina too, you know. I mean, they may be inbred, but I don't consider that as third world. Yeah, it seems as though he has it out for me. I'm not sure why. He's probably trying to get his name out, but again, he has the impression that once he gets monetized or so forth, that all the money is going to start rolling in. It's just not going to happen that way. No, the NFL is not going to change their contact rules. This isn't the first time this happened. Chuck Hughes back in the 70s, he died on the field there. So, it's not going to change the contact rules at all. And it wasn't really a contact. He was just having he just caught a tackle there. I mean, that's why NFL players get paid a bunch of money there. There's an expectation of serious injury. That's a possibility, Charlie, as far as heart complications, because, like I said, the vaccine has only been out for a year. We don't know the long term effects there. I mean, you just take your chances and make your decisions there. That's why I don't have any problems with anyone that didn't take the jab, just because of that. I decided to because a lot of my family passed away due to COVID. I lost a lot of family members. So I felt that I was going to be very susceptible to COVID, which is why I did take the vax and take a booster. I've not taken anything else since. Regardless as to whether someone takes the vax or not, it's a very important that you accept their decision, and don't try to not defriend someone just because they don't agree with you. No, I wouldn't date sassy savage goddess. Like I said, now that I've heard that name so much, and now that I finally found out who she was on yesterday's show, like I said, she's got a lot of problems. I only wish the best for her. I wasn't aware of that. I'm kind of mixed as far as that situation is concerned, as far as getting a jab for, your job position or so forth, especially working in a medical hospital there. Like I said before, there's always going to, no matter what decision any hospital or job has, there's always going to be positives and negatives. There's some places that didn't require their workers getting the jab that are getting sued because people that work there got sick. So it flows both ways. Cold, see, I don't really want to turn this too much into a show as far as vaxes are concerned. The only thing I can say is we don't know the long term effects of the vaccines. Yes, I did previously mention I did get vaccinated for COVID. I'm sorry you didn't have the decision there. Some people actually quit their job in order to avoid getting the jab there, Charlie. But you know that's you made the decision to keep your job and get the jab there. You know you gotta live with that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean I don't really know what else to tell you there. Yes, you can get fired for not taking a vaccine depending on where you work at. That's going to be a company decision. When I worked at Verizon, we were required to get the vaccine. Anyone that was working outside of the company, if they were working at home, they weren't required to get the vaccine, but they were highly encouraged. But anyone that was working at one of our retail stores or so forth, or working outside or in an office, they were required to get the vaccine at Verizon. Yeah, monoxide. You mean Rogaine? Yeah, that stuff works pretty good there. I've just never, Pugman. I just never believed. I mean, I thought about using that whenever I was going bald, but you know, I just want to age gracefully. You know. Uh, the dating advice I would give to Frank Tofano would be to be himself, but then again, not be himself there. Just don't be an asshole to girls or women and be very respectful. Also, dress better as well. He dresses like shit. Well, Athens, again, there's positives and negatives between that as far as to side effects from COVID. With any vaccine, even before then, you know, vaccines as a whole have all, you know, some people are gonna have those side effects, and not just for COVID. We're talking about other general vaccines you get in order for you to go to school, like for the measles, for polio, and stuff like that. I can't describe an ideal woman because I don't date women really. So no, I'm not a fan of the Chicago Cubs. There, I'm from I'm a Southerner, so I'm down with the Atlanta Braves. You know. Now I am a fan of the Boston Red Sox now because my cousin Nico Goodrum he signed a contract with them to play for the Red Sox. So I'm now a fan of the Red Sox. I just wish that the Astros didn't decide to drop my cousin there. That's for sure. Hey Charlie, you got to live with your decisions there, brother. You know, you can't just dwell on something like that. You know what I'm saying? You made the decision. Remember, you made the decision uh, for your best interest there. You know, and you just got to accept those decisions there. You know. Yes, people are reporting heart problems after getting the vaccine. Like I said, regardless as to any type of vaccine, there's all you know. Some people are gonna have side effects here, Athens. So that's gonna be a given there. You know. I have a couple of videos on my channel which is a guide on how to dress there. But the biggest thing to what I usually tell people to do is get what's called a capsule wardrobe system. Don't go for fast fashion. Don't go for big giant logos or anything like that. Dress the part that you want to be. Also dress your age as well. What is a perfect woman in my mind? I really don't have one there, Scatman. I can't answer that question there. And I don't think it would really make too much of a difference there, unless I was dating women. I mean, I could describe how the women that I've dated, but they've been all sorts of types there. Most of them with shorter hair, but that was the style back in the 90s anyway. But as far if you wanted a little bit of advice as far as women is concerned, don't go by their looks, go by their personality there. Don't date a woman to where all she thinks about is shopping and seeing how much money is in your wallet there. Make sure that she has a good heart and and actually has a sense of intelligence here. As far as Frank is concerned, he probably does swing a little bit. I mean, as well as Vegan Gains, both of them have stuck things up their butt. As Bob Ciccarello says, it's only gay if he want it to be. Yeah, the LA looks, Wet Joe look. Yeah. And of course, being in the South, the big hair pretty much lasted for quite some time, as well as the mullet. I went to Irwin High School, and just about, a lot of people had mullets. They're saying that the mullet is making a comeback. Business in the front, party in the back. Yeah, me and Bob have been pals for a very long time. It was good. It was good meeting him. I've met him a bunch of times there. He's a good guy there. Some people think he's an asshole and he's arrogant. Probably. But I mean, the thing about it is, people get an impression of a certain person on online or so forth or in magazines, but there's a big difference when you actually meet someone in person. Like I said, most people think David Henry was a pretty nice guy there. He was kind of rude to me in Vegas here. But then again, he was competing at the time. And that's another thing. If you go to an expo and a bodybuilder is competing and they snap off at you, that doesn't really mean anything. They've been dieting for months here. They're tired. And they're going to be quite cranky. Whenever I was dieting for shows and stuff like that, I was quite cranky. No, I would never play around with Frank. No, Easy E's Jerry Curl was a Jerry Curl. Jerry Curl and a mullet is two completely different things. I dated a guy with a mullet. That was a long time ago. Like I said, it's just a hairstyle there. It was the hairstyle of the day. I had a Jerry Curl at one time as well. In fact, I had a Jerry Curl and he had the mullet. So, I mean that's we had the Atlanta look back in the 90s there. Everyone had the activator curl kit and stuff. So, I'm gonna actually watch that probably tomorrow. That interview with Mac Truck. It'd be interesting to see what happened, but I haven't watched it yet. There was a lot of stuff I had to catch up on today. Chris Bumstead, no. I've not seen his tirade as of yet, so I don't really have an opinion. But it does sound to me like he needs a little milk of magnesia, you know, and maybe a little bit of soap in his mouth. Well, Billy, it's called paying the bills there, and there's nothing wrong with protein powder, and there's nothing wrong with posting and advertisements for a 110-pound barbell kit. You know, that's been used for over 100 years. You know, I mean, like I said, when it comes to YouTube, Billy Joe, money doesn't drop from trees. There's no such thing as a YouTube fairy. You know. And of course, naturally, there's nothing wrong with protein powder. You know, it's a good supplement to use when you're on the run and you don't have time to go fix a meal. You know, Scatman, I never thought about mullets being that way. I've seen gays with mullets and I've seen them with ponytails. I don't. I think it's just a hairstyle. That's all it is. There's really nothing to read into that. Broccoli head, yeah, the Phil Spector look. When it comes to boxing, he's been undefeated for like over 50 fights here. So I would consider him as one of the best of all time. Oh, you're talking about the Rich Piana one. Yeah, I remember that one. I think he was under the influence of drugs there. Whenever he was recorded, so I don't think Piana's a. I never thought that Piana was a racist there. I think he was just under the influence of drugs. I mean, there's simply a big difference here. That's also why I don't really mind too much of Jay Master stuff because he's drunk, you know. And when you're drunk, even when I'm drunk, I've called white people crackers and stuff like that, you know. When you're under the influence there of any type of drugs, you're gonna say things that you would normally not say publicly. But I've called white people crackers and honkies and stuff like that when I've been drunk and everything. No, I'm not a YouTube fairy. And, folks, I mean, I do my live stream. My live streams are pretty much my downtime, and I don't want to be in a position to where, okay, in order to make money, you can't get a question answered unless you pay me some money, like, Vegan Gains a site. But I do have to make coin. I do got to pay the bills here. So, yes, there is going to be, when you go to vincegoodrum.com, I'm going to obviously have ads no different than any other uh, person there. That's just the way it is there. It's no different than a job. When I worked at Verizon, what did I sell? I sold phone service. If someone asked me what's the greatest phone service out there, I would say Verizon because I fucking work there. I actually like both Corys. I think they were awesome actors. I feel bad for what happened to Corey Haim. I think he just needed a lot more closer friends in life. The industry definitely didn't look out for Corey Haim. Exactly, Charlie. Rich was zonked out of his mind when he said all that, So, like I said again, I don't take any, just like Jay Masters, I don't take any of that stuff that he actually says because he was drunk. Jay Masters was drunk. Rich Piana was all coked up and stuff. He was zonked out of his mind. Yeah, I'll probably bring fans on my show one of these days. I'll probably, probably the first person I probably bring up here is probably Big Lenny, and stuff. One of the Misfits or so. But right now, I'm perfectly fine with going on other shows like Muscle Sport Media or debating vegan gains. Or I know I got a debate with vegan gays. I'm going to be debating a lot of vegans this month. Rich Piana's workouts did work there, otherwise, he wouldn't have had that size. There will never be a Vince Goodrum bigger by the day because I'm going to be getting smaller by the day. I have no intentions of getting back to where I was here. Like I said, the weight is going down. Yeah, Richard is a hypocrite for saying that. And John Meadows was a friend of mine, and it really irritates me when he still brings his name up there. Maybe I should do a video about that again. But Richard needs to realize is that John Meadows lived to be 49. And like John Meadows told me one time, he told me that Richard will be lucky if he even makes it to 40. So in order for Vegan Gains to prove John Meadows wrong, he's going to have to live for another 20 years. If he's able to do that, then he'll be at the point to where he says, okay, his diet is better than John Meadows. But if he dies sooner than that, he loses. That would be Arnold's Simple 7 workout. It's simply, let me hold on just a minute. Bench press, shoulder press, skull crushers, ab crunches, squats, calf raises, and there was one other exercise. Oh, yes, barbell curls. So Arnold's Simple 7, full body workout, do it 3 days a week. But he published that in his book, The Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding. It's also in Bill Pearl's book, The Keys to the Inner Universe. What qualities do I look for in a sexual partner? Not really, because sex is pretty much basic there. You're going in and out there, so there's not exactly a technique with sex. Even people who have never had sex can pretty much figure it out. So, yes, they were hilarious, but he doesn't do it anymore simply because, he got a bunch of community strikes here. You have to understand that Richard's channel is not controlled. He has his channel is no longer really his. He's under another a multi-channel network, actually. So it's not really so much as his channel. It's part of a multi network, and they have rules. But that's why he doesn't do any more of those worst of the fitness industries. Well, part of it is his diet, which, and I'm not, when I say diet, I'm not referring to a vegan diet. It's just an unhealthy diet. And he's overlifting as well there. He's not being consistent with his workouts. He hasn't built the foundation in order to, and plus he lifts very unsafely too. his lifting techniques are horrible. You know, I've never mentioned that, but his lifting techniques are horrible. He should take advice from Blaha of all people. Charlie, there's more rules now than there used to be. It's not that it sucks so much. It's now more censored because sponsors no longer wanted to advertise on YouTube because of all the content that people like Vegan Gains had done, and as well as myself because my content used to be super edgy as well, you know, and I've had to remove a number of my videos there because of its edginess. That's why I also built the my website vincegoodrum.com so I can now publish all those old banned videos. Would I ever get married again? Well, never say never when it comes to that. I mean, I can't really answer that. I'm not looking to get married, but getting married is something that just happens on its own, you know. That was the same the first time I got married, you know, just all the pieces to the puzzle fit together to where, okay, I need to marry this person. What's up, barbecue sauce? Welcome to the show. You got 6 minutes left if you have a question to ask. Well, the Misfits will be friends again. Trust me on that. Well, Charlie, things change, you know. Many years ago, before there were even social media, there were discussion forums. Before discussion forums, there were news groups. Before news groups, there were bulletin board systems. You know, things change. You know, it's the evolution of life. You know, you just got to deal with it. You know. But you have to understand that YouTube is now pretty censored. You can't the things that I used to get away with other as well as others just can't do that no more. Unless if I'm going to do it, I'm going to publish it on my own channel. Yes, I would agree. I told him that he needs to contact Tory Washington for some advice on being a vegan. Well, yes, I do have very high standards. You know, I don't want a loser or anything like that lives with his own mother and doesn't have their own car, you know. McCarthy is still having personal problems here. Again, I'm gonna say this again, and I probably am beating on a dead horse. I wish all the best for him. Rob Lynn Bailey's music is crap. Just crap. Loud noise. Logan Paul made a response to CoffeeZilla. That'd be interesting to see. I'll have to look that up. In fact, I'll probably look that up after this live stream. I like CoffeeZilla. He's a good guy. He's a good investigative person. He likes getting to the bottom of the things. Yeah, there is a board. I mean, folks, the Delray Misfits are going to get back together. Trust me. They've broken up a dozen times. They'll get back together. Well, I sucked pretty bad at whenever I was doing wrestling. I'm just glad I never got anyone hurt. So I would not jump at. I would not get back in the wrestling ring. If I was going to do that, I would be an announcer or a manager. You know, a lot of wrestlers actually respected me when I said that. There, you know. I remember one time at that time I was working. I was in Silva. I was working at Family Dollar, and the young bloods actually walked in. If you're not familiar with the young bloods, because I live near Cherokee, they were Native American wrestlers. The young blood family. If you don't know if you don't know the young bloods, you don't really know Southern wrestling. They came in and asked me if I want to do a show with them because they heard. that I had wrestled at one time, and they needed some people to work a benefit show, which every regional wrestling event is a benefit show. I told them no, I was never going to get back into wrestling because I didn't want to get anyone hurt, and I sucked, and they respected me for that. The only thing I didn't respect is my paycheck at Family Dollar. I was making $7.25 an hour, a minimum wage, but that was a job I could get at in Silva. Just got to be a man about it. So. I don't have much body hair. Whenever you competed, I used Nair in order to take off the hair. And as a side effect, Nair actually inhibits hair growth. And eventually, if you use it long enough, your hair pretty much grows down. Why I don't live with my mom? That's because my mom would never have me back there. So, in our family, once we turn 18, we got to get out of the house. So. No, I wouldn't let her move in. She needs to go to one of those drug rehab places. Charlie, I didn't miss your question. I do remember the Order 66 there. No, it wasn't Dean Youngblood. At all. It wasn't Dean Youngblood. I've seen enough of New Jack's wrestling to where I'm pretty much know what I'm gonna expect when if I watch The Dark Side. So I don't really need to see that. Not only that, I've been to wrestling shows where New Jack has actually showed up. Very violent, so very good to watch, but I couldn't believe all the stuff that he was actually doing. So folks, it is 10 o'clock. You know what time is it, right? It's time to check on out, but before we check out, you know what comes next? All right, we're closing out the show, folks. If you want to drop something in the collection plate, you can. In the meantime, if not, jam along with Sanford's Son, folks. You have a good night too, Peter. Take care, Cold C. All right, folks. Again, I want to thank Pugman, Robert Banks. Thanks again for your donations. I appreciate your support. Y'all have always looked out for me, and I definitely appreciate that. I want to thank everybody else that's tuned in to Earl Grey Tuesday. Don't forget, we're going to have the midnight run. It happens on Friday at 10 o'clock p.m. Again, thanks again for tuning into the show, and